Hello, Ifriki here. Welcome back. Today I'd like to tell you about why humans send technology to space. And I'll spare you the history of how we got to space to begin with. But I can tell you this, we owe the entire space era to war. It is because people were going to war against each other that we developed the technology to go to space. But fast forward to now that space technology has become part of our day-to-day life, I'd like to sort of, again, like it is the purpose of this series of videos, to demystify this why we send things to space. Besides the obvious military and defense reasons that have to do with security, it starts with a problem for which the solution requires that an instrument be sent to space. What do I mean? If there is a problem for which it is cost effective over time, or there is no other way, there's no better way than sending an instrument to space, the solution will require building a spacecraft and placing it in one orbit or the other. Let me take a simple example. From the science point of view, if there is something that the scientists need to measure, but the atmosphere is a screen, and the signals they're trying to detect cannot get to their instrument on Earth because of the atmosphere, the only solution left is to place the instrument in orbit above the atmosphere. I think that makes sense. Other problems for which you might need to send an instrument in space could be, let me take another simple example. Suppose you're trying to detect fire on Earth whenever it arises. One way to do it would be to constantly fly helicopters and drones or combinations of those to check if there's a fire. It costs a lot of money though, over a period of time, say over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Constantly flying these things costs a lot. One way to constantly monitor to see if there's any fire is to put a number of instruments, maybe a certain camera of a certain resolution and other adjacent instruments on a satellite and placing it in an orbit such that many times a day it will be taking images that it will send down to Earth, and we can then analyze these images to see whether or not there's a fire anywhere. These are the kind of problems for which, when we evaluate the different possibilities, we realize that it makes more sense to place an instrument in orbit. It's not that there are not other ways to do it. There are other ways to solve these problems. It's just that when we evaluate, we run analysis, we see that over time it is more cost effective, more practical to send technology to space. It's as simple as that, really. Why would you send something to space if there is a problem to solve and the best solution, after evaluating and looking at other options and alternative solutions, the best turns out to be the one that requires placing a piece of technology in orbit. That's it, really. As simple as that. The technology could be complex, it could be simple, it could exist already, or maybe one needs to invent this technology. But if, when we look at the problem we have at hand and we evaluate different ways to solve this problem, and we find that the best solution requires going to space, only then do we decide to deploy the efforts, the energy and the money that it takes to place a piece of technology in space. Well, there we go. I'll end this video here with why we go to space to begin with. It's a very simple way to look at it. Again, the aim is to demystify the whole space mission thing, like I said. I hope you liked it. Talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.